Level 1. The Carrier. You're 22, working a register at a discount electronics stall 2 blocks from the line, and you've told exactly one girl that you work in import logistics. You mop the floor. That's the whole job. A regular named Dante tips well and talks louder than the room needs. Tonight he slides a sealed pouch across the counter and asks you to carry it through the pedestrian lane for $200. You say no. He says it back to you loud enough for 3 other people to hear, grinning the whole time. A guy who won't carry a bag is just a guy who's scared of a bag. The room laughs. You've just learned that a joke, said loud enough, works better than an argument ever could. He presses an old coin into your palm on your way out, tells you it's for luck. You walk the lane with a stranger's pouch, and a border officer's eyes pass over you without stopping. Your hands don't shake, no sweat, nothing. That calm is the thing you'll spend the next 15 years finding out you're better at than anyone around you. Better than singing, better than running, better than anything that could have actually kept you safe. You count the $200 twice that night at your kitchen table, the same way you'd count anything that felt too good to be entirely real. Your mother asks where it came from. You tell her a bonus from the stall. She doesn't fully believe you, and she doesn't push either, the way people don't push when some part of them already suspects the real answer would cost them something to hear. Dante finds you again within the week, not asking this time, just handing you another pouch like the first conversation already settled something between you. You take it. You tell yourself it's just this once more. You've already stopped believing that sentence by the time you reach the line. Level 2. The Driver. Dante moves you up after the 4th carry. Now you're behind the wheel of a car that isn't registered to you, product built into the door panels, dressed like someone coming off a shift he hates, because that's the whole art form now. Dress for a job you don't have, disappear from a crime you do. You learn driving as a discipline with its own commandments. Cross at shift change. Never the same car twice in a month. Keep the tank at half empty looks like fleeing, full looks like loitering, half looks like Tuesday. Nobody's ever been arrested for looking like Tuesday. The dog hits your trunk anyway, sits hard, proud of himself. Secondary inspection. They take your car apart, panel by panel, while your pulse tries to file its own paperwork. They find a 2-day-old sandwich wrapper your cousin left under the seat. That's it. That's the whole find. You drive away shaking not from the dog, from what you noticed while the trunk was open. 1 panel screw, sitting proud of the metal by a hair. 10 more seconds of attention, and that's a cell, not a sandwich. You stop trusting luck after that night. Luck doesn't keep a schedule. You start learning the work like an actual trade instead. Level 3. The Courier. Dante pulls you off cars and hands you a single phone with 1 saved number. No name. You don't ask what's next. Not asking is its own answer. You wanted forward more than you wanted safe, and those stopped being the same thing a while ago. Now you run sealed packages inland, told never to open them, and everyone involved knows exactly what stopped being fake merchandise several runs ago. 1 package splits open on a desert shoulder at 3 a.m., patrol cruiser sweeping past every 90 seconds. You can't put it back. You've got rules. Never open a package, never carry a weapon, never a mile over the limit, and none of them help you right now. You remember a motel room 2 exits back, paid for and never slept in, kept exactly for a moment like this. You rewrap it seam by seam until you can't tell which one tore. The man who takes the delivery 2 hours late runs a thumb over every package, stops on the one you fixed, can't find the flaw. He doesn't say good job. Men like him never do. He just tells the man beside him, next time, send this one specifically. That's the moment you stop being a body. Bodies are interchangeable. This is something else. Dante hears about it within a week. And for the first time, his voice on the phone has an edge you haven't heard before. A client asking for you by name is a client who could one day call you directly, without dialing him first, and he doesn't like that arithmetic. You're not doing arithmetic yet yourself. You're 23, and somebody important asked for you specifically, and that feeling is doing all the deciding for you right now. 2 runs later, the tired-eyed man who took your fixed package makes you an offer. Quit the courier hops. Come coordinate something bigger. Real freight, real cargo, double the money. And the part he sells hardest. No more product touching your own hands directly. You say yes before you've finished hearing the whole sentence. You'll finish that thought later, alone. The way you've started finishing most of your real thoughts these days after the fact. Once the decision's already been made for you by whoever you were an hour ago. Level 4. The cargo handler. The word that ends most men in this business is one word: scan. You're standing 40 feet back in a high-visibility vest holding a manifest that says 40 pallets of imported tile. And you don't go pale, because you built this entire load around exactly that word. This isn't a hollow door panel anymore. This is a full trailer through the busiest commercial crossing on the coast, and everything you learned on the street turns out to be the wrong education entirely. Up here, it's not a nerve game, it's a paperwork game. A scanner doesn't read intent, it reads density. You spent 3 weeks solving exactly that building weight into pallet cores that match a reference load down to a rounding error until you know more about ceramic tile than anyone who actually sells it for a living. The image scrolls. The officer signs the sheet. The truck rolls through. Your driver climbs down shaking, laughing the wrong kind of laugh, calls you a genius. It's the nicest thing anyone's told you since your last real job fired you. You notice something underneath the calm this time, though. Your hands weren't the ones on that truck. His were. If the density had read wrong, he's the one in cuffs, not you. You've quietly moved yourself out of the lane of actual risk. That relief sits next to something else entirely, something you don't have a name for yet. 1 trailer becomes 2, then 3 a week, and you physically cannot be at every crossing packing every pallet yourself. There's only one of you, and you've checked. So you hire a packer, a second driver, a broker on retainer, and somewhere in that hiring you stop being the man who moves product and become the man who tells other men how to. Dante goes quiet for a full month after that. Then one text lands at 2 a.m. No greeting, no punctuation. Big loads, big eyes, don't forget who found you. It reads like a warning. It's really envy wearing a warning's clothes. He can smell that his carrier outgrew the counter he found him at, and he has no idea yet how far the counter's grown since. Level 5, the crew led. A phone lights up at 2 a.m. with 4 words that stop your heart mid-beat. Reyes got pulled over. You run a small crew now, 3 drivers, a packer, a broker who skims a little off every filing, and you let him because a predictable thief is a thief you understand. Reyes got greedy, shaved product off a load to sell on the side, and got stopped doing 4 miles over a limit you built your entire operation around never touching. He's facing real time. He knows your face, your apartment, your whole operation. The men above you would call this simple a scared man as a leak, and you seal leaks. You don't. You put a real lawyer on retainer, quietly fund his mother's account every month, send word through a cousin, take the charge, say nothing, and his family eats until he's out, with a job waiting. He takes the years, gives them a name that isn't yours. You learn something that makes you more dangerous than Dante ever was. Fear keeps a man quiet until he's more scared of prison than of you. Loyalty keeps him quiet forever. You didn't scare Reyes, you made him need you to win. You catch yourself turning that old coin over in your hand without meaning to, a habit that used to belong to someone else and somehow moved into you without asking. Then Dante calls not to collect, to ask if you've got room for one more driver. Him, the man who handed you that coin 15 years ago, wants to work for you now. Level 6, the fixer. She hands you a stuck shipment and 48 hours. You solve it in 6. That's the entire interview. She runs freight forwarding companies that are boringly, completely real, and thread other things through all that legitimate tonnage without anyone ever noticing the seams. Here's what nobody tells you about the top of this ladder. It's boring. Spreadsheets. Shell companies stacked inside other shell companies. A real office with a real receptionist who genuinely believes you import ceramics, which technically you also do. Then someone tests the machine directly. A container worth more than you can comfortably say out loud gets hijacked straight out of a rail yard by people who knew the exact hour to move. Your crew wants blood. You spend 2 days on the phone instead, find the yard foreman feeding your schedule to a rival, and instead of hurting him, you buy him triple his rate, turn him inside out. Feed his old employer bad numbers until your load comes back through a clean transfer, and the rival crew ends up with an empty truck. Dante's your driver now. He watches you end a war with a spreadsheet and a phone call, and for the first time in all the years you've known him, he looks away first. He always looks away first now. Level 7, the logistics chief. A container sits under an inspection hold in a foreign port, and the men above you have already decided somebody talked. You're the only person who knows it was nothing but random bad luck, which is the single worst thing you can be in a room that's already made up its mind. You run Northern Logistics now, sailing schedules across continents, port officials on retainer, a payroll administered like any ordinary company's. Your daily fear stopped being law enforcement. It's a shipping delay. A boat running 4 hours late is the whole horror movie now. You pull inspection logs, find 2 other unrelated containers flagged that same week for the same reason, and build a case out of paper proving a pattern of coincidence instead of a leak. You save a broker's life with a spreadsheet, the same way you saved your own cruise operation a year earlier. You notice, afterward, that you didn't fight for him because of the photo of his kids taped inside his folder. You fought for him because a dead broker is a loose end, an investigation, a hole in your route. The photo just didn't move anything in you. You got very good and very cold, and you're not sure anymore which one came first. Dante gets sloppy around this same stretch of years, still your driver, drinking more, talking more, once nearly walking an active route into a bar conversation with a stranger in Long Beach. The men above you would put him in the ground for a mistake like that and never think of him again. You don't do that either. You don't save him fully this time, though. You strip him of roots, money, protection, everything that ever made him worth being afraid of, and exile him into nothing. He comes to you afterward, shaking, actually begging, the same man from the counter 15 years ago, with none of the swagger left in him. You let him finish every word. You've got time now. Then you hand him back his own old joke folded up neat. A fixer with a conscience is just a liability with a phone. You watch it land. 15 years closed in one sentence. He walks out with nothing, and you feel nothing, and somewhere underneath that you realize those 2 facts might just be the same fact, wearing different coats. Level 8, the International Operator. You own the route now, a shipping front with a real fleet. Officials paid across 3 ports on 2 oceans. Product moving through your holds mostly exactly as declared, with a smaller fraction invisible inside it. You've stopped hiding things in vehicles entirely. Now you don't hide, you disappear. Low-profile vessels that ride just under the surface, barely a shadow on any scan looking for a boat instead of open water. You built something that moves invisibly before you ever needed to learn how to swim yourself. On paper, you're a self-made shipping executive. Someone offers to put you on the cover of a trade publication. You say no. That's harder to turn down than it should be. You built an entire operation without raising your voice once. No wars, no bodies, just clean paper and quiet routes and a man who never loses his temper. The same discipline that got you here, identical and careful every single time, has been drawing one long, clean line for over a decade. A line that clean eventually points at somebody. Level 9, the Kingpin. The organization hands you the last title there is your own vessels, your own officials, routes with your name on nothing, nobody's schedule but yours. It lands without a sound, and that's the exact thing that undoes you. A task force stopped hunting a violent man over a year ago. Their profile was never a monster. It was somebody disciplined, careful, consistent, someone who keeps a fuel tank at exactly half. Your discipline was never a disguise. It was a fingerprint. You were so consistent, they could set a clock by you. You got caught for being boring, and nobody's ever been a pioneer at that before. The tip that turns a profile into a warrant comes from exactly where it should. Dante, older, broke, calling a hotline. He never had your real name. He didn't need it. He gave them the pattern, the no violence rule, the paperwork habits, the coin he handed you himself 15 years ago at a counter 2 blocks from a border. He'd rather watch you fall than watch his own carry become a king he never managed to be. You find out you're blown with 12 hours to move. You have every exit built a jet, a clean passport, a villa somewhere extradition can't reach. You built all of it yourself, because building exits was the first real thing the border ever taught you. You get as far as the counter and stop. You set the old coin down next to a bowl of complimentary mints and look at it for a long moment. Running means leaving behind the only people who ever stayed loyal, starting over from the bottom, somewhere else, forever. The calm that walked you through a pedestrian lane at 22 has nowhere left to walk. You don't run. Months later, you watch a documentary about yourself in a day room with the sound off, your own face on a screen bolted between a clock and an old vending machine. It looks like a stranger, because in every way that matters now, it is one. They gave you a nickname and a red string on a corkboard. Nobody making that documentary ever met the kid rubbing an old coin raw at a pedestrian lane, terrified a man wasn't going to call him back. You count things now, out of habit more than purpose. Ports, routes, the men you kept loyal and the one you didn't. There's one number you've never once said out loud, and you're not going to start tonight either. Some numbers you keep off the manifest, even now, even here, even for yourself.